Vintage Story was essentially a mod created to support Minecraft. The mod was so distinguishable and different from the core game that over the years it became its own little project. Sort of what happened to Arma and DayZ, if you guys could recall that for a minute. When people call out Vintage Story and throw out names like an asset flip or throw names at its development, I can't help but to get frustrated with some of those accusations. Sure, the mod was essentially intended to improve Minecraft by its stunning visuals, gameplay mechanics, and its detailed survival system. And technically, it wouldn't be here if it weren't for Minecraft. But once everything is said and done, you cannot lay both of these titles next to each other and say that they share so many similarities with each other, to the point where it's acceptable to call Vintage Story an asset flip title. The statement alone couldn't be any further from the truth. In fact, I'm almost certain that 99% of people calling this game an asset flip are the ones that haven't even played the game to begin with. And those who played Vintage Story will understand the hard work and the incredible amount of detail that went into creating this game. When you launch the game for the first time, you will realize how special the game feels from the very beginning. The environment is completely different and unique. It has a very distinguishable feel and characteristics to it. The world interacts with you. Animals get scared and run away from you. The sunshine shines through tree branches and gives life to everything it touches. The seasonal changes along with various weather conditions that is unavoidable and will reach you at all costs. Various soils have different nutrient variants. Just like in real life, the black soil is the best soil to grow crops and vegetables. Best soil for farming, period. You knock the tree down as a whole rather than doing it block by block. Certain animals hibernate during the winter time, and certain fruits and vegetables will no longer grow during the cold weather conditions. Vintage Story creates a whole different and new immersion system for its players. Everything has to be handmade. You're essentially a caveman that has to learn how life works and simply learn how to just go along with it. Simply learning how to create your first tool can be very challenging and yet very rewarding at the same time. Having a house that's 4x4, but it's perfectly crafted could bring a certain gratification and reward to you. You know that it took you a precise amount of time and effort to build it, and that's what makes it so special. There are no shortcuts in Vintage Story. Everything has to have a purpose and requires a certain amount of detail and time. I just only covered 2% of the game, and the real game doesn't even start until later on. So when this game gets compared to Minecraft or simply accused as an asset flip, I can't help but to shake my head about all this and just laugh at nonsense. I'm not denying the fact that Minecraft could have been a huge boost of encouragement for this game to shine and become a project, but it would also be very silly of me to compare the two and call Vintage Story unoriginal, because what Vintage Story has accomplished as a mod is remarkable and worth recognition in my opinion. Think about what happened to Arma and DayZ mod. This is the same story, just a different animal. One of the few elements that clearly outlines Vintage Story from anything else out there would be its interesting gameplay loop, but most importantly its survival system, or perhaps systems. That's right, because there's a lot more than one. Cooking. The overall cooking system can be compared to Breath of the Wild in terms of how many dishes you can combine together in order to make a recipe. You're not forced to cook and seek complex dishes. In fact, you can get around by eating berries and simple cooked meat harvested from animals. However, cooking and putting extra time into meal preparation will grant you the ability to hold your hunger a lot more. Some dishes will significantly impact your character and will help you in the long run in terms of longevity. Cooked meals don't expire nearly as fast as simple meals do, which will encourage you to perhaps be more efficient with your time and with your duties. Instead of constantly relying on food supply, preparing food in advance will make you focus on elsewhere in the game. For instance, improving your base. Base building. Building a home for the first time doesn't have to be perfect, which means at its initial stages of the game, digging a hole in the cave could be your main escape, and doesn't sound like a bad idea after all. However, once you manage to discover and craft advanced tools, your building could essentially be limitless. You could make a hobbit home, hidden in underground, and blend in with the rest of the environment. You could build brick homes, buildings made out of different materials. You could build a tree house hidden in the forest. possibilities are countless and your mind will take advantage of it, and I promise you of it. Mods. You are probably fully aware that Minecraft majority of the time is being enjoyed and played with mods and shader packs. I can even fully admit it myself, I love Minecraft with shader packs and it doesn't feel the same otherwise. Well, another benefit to Vintage Story over Minecraft is the fact that shader is already included in Vintage Story as is. The game is easily customizable with mods. In fact, its development team encourages you to use them for experience and variety. It's easily accessible through the main menu of the game. All you have to do is locate the file, which means basically locate the exact mod that you want to enable, and it's all said and done. Seasons. At the beginning of the video I slightly mentioned about the seasonal changes, and it's true. It's inevitable and will reach you at all cost. Although technically you could run in a straight line and potentially encounter a tundra and a few other interesting biomes in the Vintage Story, the winter on the other hand is coming and your preparation is far more important than you think. Although some animals will stick around during the difficult times, when you kill any of them, the amount of meat that they would drop would be minimal because they're also starving and not well fed. It's been far more than a while since I played a true survival game where everything is taking time fairly steady, requiring patience and devotion to the game. It's been far and even more since I played a game and I truly had no idea what the heck I was doing. And trust me, Vintage Story has made me feel useless more than once. Perhaps one of the drawbacks of the game could be the learning curve, but thankfully there are guidelines available from the get-go. You could easily access them through the main menu, and its explanation is actually really extremely useful. The only thing that drives me crazy about the Vintage Story, and now it feels like it's just a part of the game at this point, but I always have trouble memorizing how to craft a certain item, and I always have to refer to the guidebook unless it's something simple. But that could be my fault and my issue because I'm a hard learner, to be honest, when it comes to memorizing. And it wasn't necessarily my stronghold. I mean, I'm still having trouble memorizing names here. But anyways, Vintage Story is a pretty solid survival game with tons of excitement to be discovered. I played this game completely solo and I had a blast with it. Once again, the game has me hooked and there are still tons of items I try to discover. I cannot wait to see how I would do during the winter time, but I'm also sort of terrified. If you're debating about the title, I promise you, if you're a survival enthusiast like myself, the game is more than your money's worth. You cannot get this title through Steam, mainly because the developer didn't want to deal with any publishers, but they do have their own website and Discord page filled with just tons of useful information and just fun topics about any upcoming updates. The team working on this game is very open-minded people. They listen to any support and feedback provided to them, and in fact, community is what shapes this game for the better. If you want to be a part of its development team and have a say in its production, you can join the Discord and discuss those elements with the development team. But with that being said, this was your boy Roos, and I'm out. Goodbye.